Shemai Paub. Hello everybody. Welcome to my very cold, frosty, frozen, wild Welsh garden, and a very happy new year to all of you. Just to wish you all the very best for 2025. May it be a wonderful year for wildlife. I've come out to the front of my house at sunrise. I was hoping I could hear the song thrush, but he's not singing. I first heard him on Boxing Day, so only a few days after the turn of the year, but it was enough for him to sense the change in the day length, the increase in the day length, and he started singing. It wasn't a full song by any means, it was only little snippets, but definitely recognisable as a song thrush. In the spring, he sits at the very top of those ash trees over there and sings his little heart out. And he sits on the top of that dead one over there. Because, of course, this is the time when the songbirds are going to be trying to establish territories and attract a mate. And they do that by singing. So from now on, the number of birds that sing first thing in the morning is going to be gradually increasing until we get that fabulous dawn chorus in April. It's a very cold, frosty morning. Everything is covered in frost. The song thrush was singing the other morning, and I rushed out with my microphone to capture him to record him, but by the time I got out he'd stopped, and I came into the back here, and this is what happened. Just keep your eye on the silver birch in the middle. Yes, a little robin came to sing to me as if to say, I'm here, I've got a nice voice as well. It was a very special moment in my garden. Yes, we've had some very gloomy weather over the last week or so between Christmas and New Year. We've been basically sitting under a blanket of cloud, so it's been very misty and murky, very atmospheric. It's been the real land of myths and wizards and goblins. And then Storm Eowyn came and blew all the clouds away. And yesterday was a beautiful sunshiny day with blue, blue sky. A lovely, lovely day. And now today, everything is covered in frost. Everything is frozen. The birds' bath and drinking water is frozen. The ponds are frozen. I won't touch the ice on the pond because I think that can shock the creatures that are snug underneath the ice, but I will come out and melt and break the water on the bird bath for the birds. And this is where all that horrible, soggy, untidy foliage just looks lovely because it's all coated in this covering of frost. But it does just show how important it is to leave this foliage, because all under here is where all the little creatures are living. The invertebrates and the insect larvae that the birds are able to eat in this really, really cold weather. And this is the hibernaculum next to the pond that I built just less than a year ago. And it's a hole dug in the ground and then filled with all sorts of bits and pieces, wood, stones, tiles, that sort of thing, that creatures can find lots of nooks and crannies and crevices to hide in. And it's for all sorts of creatures to spend the winter. Invertebrates, little things, and also vertebrates like frogs and toads and lizards maybe. And the question is, has anything actually managed to hibernate in there? And of course, I have absolutely no idea. I can't open it up to see. So, yeah, I'm just hoping that something has found it and is happy to spend the winter there. These are the spent seed heads of the evening primrose. Now, I've always weeded these out in my garden. I've always considered them weeds, but this year I've let them grow. And the goldfinches have been eating the seeds. It looks like they've eaten all of them at the moment. But I'm just leaving them there because I'm hoping that there are other little creatures that have decided to spend the winter there. And this really unattractive looking thing is what's left of a ragwort that grew here. But it's a hollow stem, and you can see that something has had a go at pecking through it to look for whatever's living inside. A lot of gardeners have started the sort of winter clear up of their beds and tidy up of their gardens. But as you can see, I haven't. I'm going to resist the urge to get out here and tidy up. I'm going to try and leave everything until March now. So what do you do in a wildlife garden in the depths of winter? Well, this is the time for the birds to shine. This is the time of year when the birds take centre stage in my garden. This is what I saw through my kitchen window the other morning. I'm filming through the window, so I apologise for the poor quality, but I didn't want to scare them away by opening the back door. But this is a male bullfinch, and if you look carefully, down on the left there on the ground is the female. The Welsh name is just lovely. It's Coch y Berllan, which means the red of the orchard. And it's so named because these little birds eat the emerging flower buds of fruit trees. And at one time they were considered a terrible pest of fruit growers and the commercial fruit industry. And in the 1960s in the UK, thousands were trapped and killed because of the effect that they had on the orchards. Well, they're not considered a pest anymore. In fact, they're protected, so I feel very privileged to have a pair in my garden. Here they're eating the seeds of the lemon balm and the wild marjoram. So if ever there was a reason to leave some scratty, untidy bits of foliage that really look very unattractive, this is it. The bird table outside my kitchen window is a very busy place. I'm filming this through my kitchen window from where I can sit at the breakfast bar. So I do apologise for the poor quality, for the reflections, but I just wanted to try and capture the sort of busyness of the bird table with all the little birds coming and going. There's the tits, there's great tits and blue tits and coal tits and the nuthatch, and there's chaffinches now, and then all the ground feeders come, the dunnock and the robin and the wagtails. And that's a female bullfinch on the floor on the right there. So yes, I can spend a lot of time just sitting here. And again, I apologise for this. This mist is from my central heating outflow. But I just wanted to try and capture this little flock of Longtail tits that visited the feeders this morning. Yes, they don't often come into the garden, more so in the winter. But they don't stay, they sort of move through. So I can look out 1 minute and there'll be a dozen, and then I look out the next and they've gone. So I'd like to show you some of the birds that are regularly seen in the garden. These little films are all taken with the trail cam, so there's no sound, I'm afraid. But these are the sparrows, and if there was sound, it would be very loud. So these are the little birds that provide the soundtrack to the garden with their constant chirping and twittering. And this is a starling, a very handsome young man. But they do go around in these great gangs. And they're terrible bullies to the little birds, but very nervous and skittish. And then there's the robins, who have featured so much in my videos, because robins love to follow gardeners around, because gardeners unearth these little creatures for them to eat. Because robins are insect eaters, or invertebrate eaters, and they feed on the mealworms in my garden. He's just picked up a big one there. And there's 2 robins here, very territorial. They chase each other away. And that was a very quick coal tit. And this is a blackbird, although she's female, so she's not black. And she's looking a bit wary. It looks like she's heard something. She's not sure what it is. And this is a male blackbird with a yellow beak, very black. I don't see these very much at all during the summer because they're off in the woods and on the mountains. But in the winter, the resident birds are joined by birds from Northern Europe, the winter visitors. And they all congregate on the lawn first thing in the morning. They're all waiting for me when I get up for their breakfast of sultanas. And this is a dunnock, a very quiet little brown grey bird. And it just sort of creeps around on the ground. Another insect eater, so he's here picking up mealworms. Joined by a blackbird and a collared dove. And this is a chaffinch. There have always been chaffinches around in the woods, but they've never come into the garden before. But for some reason this year they've decided to come into my garden. And I'm just delighted because they're such lovely, pretty birds, joined here by a sparrow. And that's a dunnock behind. And this is a pied wagtail, another insect feeder, so he's come in for the mealworms. They just have this lovely habit of running very, very quickly. And wagging their tails, of course, which gives them their name. And this is a grey wagtail, not a common bird in a garden, but they come into my garden because I'm so close to the river, particularly in the winter. They nest by the river and they feed on the river insects, but when the river's high in the winter, they come into the garden. So I think that's all I've got to show you in my wild Welsh garden this week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining me again this year. I hope I'm going to have your company for the whole year and you can see how I'm wilding my garden. So if you're interested in following my thrilling adventures wilding my garden, if you're interested in wilding your own garden, or just maybe being a little bit wilder, or maybe attracting a bit more wildlife into your garden, then please follow me, and together maybe we can do something to, help the catastrophic decline that there is in the wildlife in the UK. So I look forward to 2025, to a better year, hopefully, than 2024. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Hwyl fawr!